How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing really good. It's been a busy weekend here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's funny because I drive fast on the roads of Nashville every single day of the week, but everyone seems so impressed by this whole race thing going on downtown. Did you guys get to see any of that?
Dude, I honestly have not. I've seen like a lot of Instagram stories, people resharing it. I know Nick was going to go today, but I don't think that happened.
Yeah, it seems like you don't really get to see much of it. It seems like because it's not like a racetrack. There's like a whole view, but you're just watching on the street that just kind of zoom by you real fast. So a lot of the Instagram stuff I saw was pretty lackluster. But I'm glad that people are excited about anything in these crazy times. I will say that. But I'm pumped that you guys, the record that we just spun front to back, which I got to say, I don't normally do that. I have to really love a band to do that because, you break radio rules and you kind of spike the charts a little bit because we're a AAA station. And so I only have done that for like two other bands. But you guys are definitely one of the bands in town that I really love. And I've never asked you guys really anything, I guess, because I've never had you on the show before. But how did Lombardy come to be? Because you guys are a really unique band for this town. How did you guys come to be?
Dude, I'm going to hand the phone over to Ryan. Drummer.
Let's hear, Ryan.
Yeah, so we are coming up on pretty quickly 1 year of Lombardy's formation. So
1 year, wow.
Last year on my birthday, which was September 11th, coincidentally, we went out for birthday dinner, and we were driving back, and I think Nick put on a Rage Against the Machine song, and we were just like, man, this is awesome. I think we could do this. And we all kind of looked at each other like, yeah, we could do something like this. And then we went home, and that night, we actually wrote Sally in like 20 minutes.
No way.
And that was the, when we did that, we actually recorded a little demo of it that night. But when we had that recording, that was kind of when we realized that we had something special there.
That is amazing. I love magical moments like that. And so is Sally a real person? Is that actually about a real girl?
I mean, Sally is, I think it's about, it's not a specific person, but it kind of encompasses a lot of different, I guess, characters in all of our lives.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I feel like that's so cool. We live in a town where so many bands do the audition thing, and they kind of become bands in unnatural ways. And for some bands that works out. But I love whenever bands tell me, we just got together and just started this band. I think that's the way that rock and roll is supposed to kind of start. And the fact that you guys are only a year in and you've already done so much, you seem like a much older band. And I mean that in a very, very nice way. It just seems like you guys have been around for a while. And so 2021 has been, obviously starting in 2020 was a strange time to start a band, but 2021 has been pretty good to you guys so far, it seems. What's on the books for 2022? I know you've got the album dropping this Friday. And then what's looking for the rest of the year into 2022 for Lombardy?
Man, so, dude, well, first of all, thank you so much for spinning the record. That means the world to us. And, thank you for believing in our music and taking that shot for us, man. That means the absolute world.
Oh,
for the rest of the year, man. So we actually already have our second record already recorded, as well.
That's amazing.
We're figuring out a plan for that, but yeah, man, we're the album's coming out next Friday, 13th, and then we're going to be at the Tomato Art Fest the following day in town, playing on the main stage at 2 p.m. And then for the rest of the year, man, we're just trying to gig as much as we can. We definitely want to start branching out of Nashville. We're setting up kind of like a Northeast run, doing a Texas run. Playing a festival out there in October, and then going to try to hit like some markets kind of in like Louisville, Atlanta, hit some frat. But yeah, man, just trying to get the name and the music a little bit out of the local scene, and kind of start gearing up for even the following year.
Yeah, I love that. And it's rad you guys are barely a year old and you're already playing the main stage at Tomato Arts Fest. For those listening outside of Nashville, Tennessee, that's not an easy thing to do. Tomato Arts Fest is one of the most reputable festivals that we have here in the city. I played it a couple times myself, and I've been quite a few times too. But that's a massive crowd. How'd you guys get on that?
Man, so I was doing solo music. Pretty much all of us were before we started Lombardy. It kind of started as like a side project for us, just for fun, and then kind of become the main thing. But I was doing solo stuff when I first moved here to town, and I played the Tomato Art Festival my first year, and then obviously last year it was canceled due to COVID.
Yeah.
And I kind of just took a shot in the dark a few months ago for the band, and I emailed Sam Parker, who's in charge of booking it, and I pitched the band, and he loved it. So we're doing it, man. So we're super stoked about it. It's gonna be a killer show.
That is amazing. You know, the first big break I ever had in rock and roll, speaking of, emailing someone, years ago when I was a very much younger man, I was in a band up in St. Louis, Missouri, where I'm originally from. And I remember one night being really drunk with a buddy of mine who was much more established than me. And he said to me, he was like, if I was your age and I had a band like yours, I guess he thought my band was good, because he was like, if I had a band as good as yours, I would just start reaching out to every single famous band I could think of, and I would offer to open up for free. And so I drunkenly went home and went on Polestar or something and found all the biggest tours and somehow tracked down booking agents, and I started offering my band to open up for free via email. And I'm not kidding you, man. We ended up on some really massive tours just from doing that, just from emailing. And so we live in such a time now where you're right. It's like the idea of taking a shot and just asking, and then boom, you're playing Tomato Arts Fest. I think that is so rad, guys. I love that. I can't wait to see what 2022 and 2023 is going to be like for you guys, assuming everything doesn't shut down again, which I know is a fear that we all live in nowadays. Not necessarily a fear of the virus, but more a fear of just people doing that and we can't play shows. What was it like to start a band when you guys couldn't play shows? Because I assume most of 2020 you guys were a band, but you couldn't really play out.
Yeah, it was kind of later in 2020. Like Ryan said, it was in September that we really traditionally formed the band. We had been kind of jamming before that loosely, but we all had such different musical backgrounds, and it would turn into this, a bunch of different weird things. But we Lombardy truly formed in September. So I was actually timing worked out great because we were able to kind of start writing songs, start playing together, feeling how each other play, and build that chemistry. Cut a first record, and then come home. And I think we played our first show, and it was either February or March. Oh, it was January. Wow, that's crazy. End of January, we played our first show here in Nashville, and man, it was cool. It's just bringing all four of our different connections together and being able to reach out to all of our friends. And we've just built a really cool community around this project, and everyone's been so supportive. And who knows what's next?
Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. We're talking to Lombardy on the Local Buzz. We just spun their debut record that comes out this Friday, front to back. Well, boys, since you're on the show, one thing I do is I always play the 5 random question game with bands, but I always ask first because I have had bands before not want to play. So in the idea of kindness, would you like to play the game?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right on. Let's get this music lined up. 5 random questions. There we go. With Lombardy on the Local Buzz. All right, guys. Question number 1. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix was this weekend here in Nashville, and they literally turned downtown into a racetrack. I wanted to ask you, is that rad, or is that just your usual drive to work made out to seem a lot cooler than it is? What's the big deal?
Yeah, if you look at my insurance history, that's my normal drive to work. But in terms of the traffic, it was not rad. But other than that, I think it's cool that you can convert, our city can just kind of willy-nilly convert into a racetrack. That's kind of dope, I guess. But other than that, my monthly insurance does not enjoy my monthly commute to work.
I'll be honest, Andy, when I first heard that, I was a little worried because since moving to Nashville, I've gotten 2 flat tires from potholes, and the thought of these cars going 200 miles an hour around here scared me.
Dude, right?
And then when I realized it was more of a contained chorus, it made a little more sense.
No, it's so true. Question number 2 with Lombardy on the Local Buzz. So Guns N' Roses played a brand new song live a few nights ago. It's apparently the first new song that the OG lineup has done together since 1993. The song is ironically called Absurd, and a lot of people have mixed feelings on it. So I wanted to ask you guys, new Guns N' Roses music in 2021, it's awesome, or it is literally absurd?
I haven't heard it personally. I don't know if any of you all have heard the new stuff yet, but I always think it's awesome when any of those bands keep putting out new stuff, because when they keep putting it out, just I don't know, drives other bands like us to keep putting stuff out 30 years down the road.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. That's a good point, yeah. And exactly. And I feel like whatever a band like that, even if it's terrible, just the fact that we get to say brand new Guns N' Roses in 2021 is kind of surreal in a lot of ways,
Yeah, man.
Question number 3 with Lombardi on the local buzz. So a lot of venues are causing some controversy around town, asking for vaccination proof to get into shows, which is kind of strange. And I wanted to ask you guys, what is the weirdest thing, speaking of being ID'd, what is the strangest time you've gotten carded or ID'd for something? I'll give you an example. I am well into my 30s, and 2 years ago, I got carded buying Red Dead Redemption because the woman said I had to be 17 to buy it. So what is one time in your life when you were very strangely ID'd and it blew your mind?
That's tough. That's a good question, yeah. I will say Red Dead Redemption 2 was the first game I bought when quarantine first started, and I played it like die hard. So
dude. What a way to get through quarantine, because what a game. What a game.
Absolutely, man. Insane.
Yeah.
ID story.
That's crazy.
That's tough.
I don't have an ID story, but one time a TSA agent at the airport checked my hair. For what? I don't know. He just said, look down, and ran his hands through my hair. So maybe he just liked my hair.
At least he just touched your head.
Yeah.
He was just jealous of your hairline. He just wanted to reminisce on what it was like to have that kind of hair, maybe. That's funny.
Yeah, maybe.
I got a quick story for you, Andy. I was backpacking through Southeast Asia like 4 years ago. It's actually kind of ridiculous. And I was crossing the border from Laos to Thailand, and I gave the guy my passport. And, obviously major language barrier there. He's kind of just stamped my passport, giving me a visa. And they put us on this bus. And it was just me and a buddy, and they started driving us literally into, like, middle of nowhere, Thailand. And we had no clue where we were, and they just dropped us off. And we had to navigate back into the city and kind of get our bearings and stuff. But
no way.
Not a total ID story, but just, like, kind of a ridiculous thing, like going through getting the visa and all that.
I can only imagine. And you're in another country, so it's like extremely nerve-wracking just trying to speak to everyone. That's crazy, man. I love it.
It's terrifying.
Question number 4 with Lombardi on the local buzz. So the Foo Fighters decided to troll the Westboro Baptist Church a couple nights ago. They apparently showed up to protest a Foo Fighters show in Kansas City, which is strange because I don't understand what's offensive about the Foo Fighters. But when they did it, they were in the back of a flatbed truck playing Bee Gees songs with their new tribute band called the DGs. So I wanted to ask you, if you could troll the Westboro Baptist Church in a tribute band, what band would you be paying tribute to? What would be one band you'd love to start a tribute band to?
Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh,
all the way.
And that's very fitting because you'd be totally going against the man. I love that.
Yeah, I feel like that music would disturb the Westboro Baptist Church.
It would finally get them to shut down. They'd be like, "That's enough. Lombardi has done it. We're out of here." Right on.
I kind of want that to happen.
They're gonna be like lying awake at night, just staring at the ceiling, and filming the name.
Exactly. Question number 5 with Lombardi, the final question here on the local buzz. So you guys could have your dream tour. We're talking 75 dates, direct support, any band you possibly want. But when you get back from this tour, you have to work driving a pedal tavern down on Broadway for an entire summer. Do you take the tour?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. No hesitation.
Absolutely.
See, you boys are in it for the right reasons, because I feel like we live in such a time where that's almost a trick question, because a lot of bands who do tours like that, they still come back home and drive pedal taverns down on Broadway for a living, at least in this town, in this music industry. So props to you guys. I think that is awesome. In it for the right reasons. Very cool. Thanks for playing, boys.
Dude, those are great questions, man. I loved it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Lots of thought clearly goes into them. Well, Lombardi, go see the boys playing on the 14th this Saturday out there at Tomato Arts Fest. Pick out their debut self-titled album that drops on this Friday. And boys, seriously, I want to have you guys come into the show soon, have you hang out, maybe do an acoustic thing. It'd be nice to meet you all in person.
Yeah, man.